This is my first bike. It was the green Schwinn. It's pretty blurry, and there's a lot of family photos with me with the pink earmuffs, and I think that it was just kind of a phase I went through about kindergarten age, and but the bib overalls, they stayed until I was about a teenager. So, but we all started with that. I was the fifth of five kids, and that was everybody's first bike. And the oldest of the five kids is my brother there, Mark, and he's on the screen left. And he started racing about a year after I did, and then ended up managing a team that we owned together later in my cycling days. And that was me, much skinnier, about 19 in that picture. But that was a great bonding experience to have with a brother that was so much older. He's 12 years older than me. Cycling eventually led me to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and during the winter, obviously. I was part of the national team program, and the thing I remember most about the Olympic Training Center is the cafeteria looked exactly like a McDonald's restaurant because they were the primary sponsor and just built basically one of their stores. Earlier, I'd been to the Olympic Training Center in Lake Placid, and the most memorable part of that experience is when we'd walk in the room, you'd close your eyes after you flipped on the light switch for about 20 seconds because the cockroaches would have to run back into the walls. My mom would let me bring my luggage in until she thoroughly inspected it and sterilized it all. This is me racing in Europe when I was in my early 20s. It looks a lot like me racing in the United States, except the street signs are different. And it was a really good experience. It was a lot of good guys. Cycling gets a knock that there's a lot of drug use, and that was really the beginning of that era. So it was a little more of a struggle. This is my mentor, my boss at the ski and bike shop in Grand Forks, and he was really who inspired me to start my own shop because he was just the funnest person you'd ever work with. His name is Robert Montgomery. Everybody calls him Monty, and he looks exactly like that today, 20 years later, and most easygoing, funnest guy you'd ever work for. This is the last mechanic I trained as the service manager at ski and bike shop, and he has kind of the unique distinction of being the only other mechanic from the ski and bike shop to go on and start their own store. His store opened the same day as mine in Phoenix, Arizona. And he refuses to be called anything but the punk because that's what he always called the youngest mechanic in the store. A best buddy that I worked with that became a lifelong friend, Colby Lisney, he's under the Antlers. That's his son Spencer, who I'm the godfather of, and he is also the godfather of my son Sam. And one of the many, many bonds I have forged with people I worked with. Colby will be there with me till the day I die. Another one, Andy Olson, you might know him from the high school here. He's a teacher. We worked together in 1988 at the ski and bike shop, and then really rekindled our friendship after we both kind of found ourselves living in Bemidji and have all the same interests. We both like to ride, both like to hunt and fish, so it's been wonderful having these lifelong bonds. This is the most important person I met at a bike shop, and it's my wife. She came in to buy a roof rack for her car one day and found out she was single, and that was love at first sight. So that's been by far my most significant relationship I've established through the bike shop. But coming up, and that's our new dog, but she brought into my life these two girls. They were, 6 and 11 when we met and got married, and then the young guy that she's got her right arm around is our son we have together, and he's 15 now. And again, just another sign of one of the important ways that cycling has kind of gone all through my life. When I started thinking about starting a shop, I needed a way to figure out how, if a second shop would be viable in Bemidji. We already had one good shop. I did that by starting a mobile business to see if there was enough business to support a second shop, and that became pretty obvious. I had that information to bring to the bank then and say I had this many clients as a mobile customer or as a mobile provider. And that led to a bike shop, which on Friday nights often leads to a bike blender blending up some margaritas. And we have two rules in the shop. The first one is you can't wear open-toed shoes because it's a workshop and things will fall and hurt your feet. And the second one is there's no beer before noon. And that's about as... I like this picture. The guys, these are all guys that worked with me last summer, and they talked me into doing a mountain bike race last fall, but I like the three skinny guys in their early 20s and then the fat guy on the screen left. I always think it's really good those jerseys are stretchy. This is Zach. He's my assistant manager now, and I don't know what ended up happening to that bike, but I put this in there because we do laugh a lot, and Zach is one of the funniest guys I've ever worked with. So he's been a wonderful, again, another lifelong friend that has come out of that environment. His real job is that he's an adjunct professor, or was at BSU. This is my annual Halloween costume. I'm always Iron Man. So, because that lifelong dream of being able to fly is still there. I've got a new one. It is Iron Man based, but you'll have to come in on Halloween to see it. So. We have a lot of superhero themes, and if you ever look at our website, you'll see kind of why. This is Jasmine Carlson, another great friend. Now the owner of the Cabin Coffee House with her family, and she rides for the store and events, and just a very great athlete, and just a wonderful family to have met and become friends with. It's one more example of how we run into and meet so many great people in the store. This is why I stopped racing. I had too many concussions. I'm not in this. This is a picture of the professionals, but when I was 25, I was told that I had to stop because I had too many injuries. And often happens at the end of a race like this, the sprinters kind of do battle, and it gets a little bumpy. And it's there's no sound as loud as your head hitting the pavement. That's I just threw this in because I raced against these guys in Belgium, and this is a perfect example of why bike shirts should be black. I don't have anything else, so we're just gonna have to wait out the rest of the 20 seconds. This is my son Sam. This is kind of where it comes full circle again. Because of the crashes and things like that, I'd never really want one of my kids to go into the sport seriously, but he's an avid rider, comes out on our group rides we have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's been really fun because it's kind of going back and riding with myself at the age of 15. So that's it.